biggest misunderstanding around this topic you come across?
That everything is about sex.
Okay.
Yeah. Like a lot of people cannot, like sometimes when people ask me, what do you do? And I say, I host cuddle workshops, you know, that's when I say schoolyard and stuff, when I don't want to talk about the sexier things. And then people say, oh, but those are orgies, aren't it? I'm like, no, it's not sexual at all. Or sometimes people say, I don't do cuddle workshops. I'm more advanced than that. I only do when I can have sex with another person. You know, there's this hierarchy of touch where kissing is better than cuddling and fucking is better than kissing.
Right, it's more advanced somehow.
That's such a big misunderstanding. Like cuddling on its own is as worthy as sex is, you know? It's not, one is not better than the other or more evolved than the other, however you want to say that. It's just a different flavor. And we have different needs in different moments with different people. This is what I say in my TED Talk too. It's like we have those different needs. And it doesn't mean that one is better. It doesn't mean that if I have sex with you, I like you better than when I cuddle you. It's just, I have a different, you know, our connection expresses itself in a different way. Or, you know, the expression, this is the expression that fits this connection. Doesn't mean, you know, eye contact, just this 2 seconds of a smile with a stranger on the street. It's worthy. It's perfect. But that could be enough for that moment. It doesn't mean that if I would have stood there for half an hour, it would have been better. You know, so this idea of hierarchy.
Half-hour eye contact's not my idea of a good time. It's
No,
it's something I
you
agree
have a
with
different
that.
flavor. That's great. You know,
I agree with
love
that.
eye gazing.
Yeah, they're wrong. So I agree with that. And there's something kind of that can be fake that's attached to this.
Mm-hmm.
I particularly hear this from women. It's very big in the yoga world to say, well, this is not about sex when it's clearly sexualized. That's clearly the carrot that's being dangled. That's why most of the men are in the room, if not the women. And
to watch the downward facing dogs from behind.
Well, if not the yoga, but maybe it's the Tantra workshop, you know? It's like if you took away all the sex, then, you know, all the possibility of sex, then, you know, there'd be a lot less participants there. Yeah. And
well, I want to challenge that because my cuddle workshops are strictly non-sexual and there are so many people coming to them.
I'm not debating. I don't know your particular workshops or your particular crowd. And I do think there are other needs other than sex, obviously. But what I'm trying to point to here, I'm sure you've seen this, is a fakeness. And this has been part of the evolutionary game between men and women for a long time. That men are slightly more interested in sex more of the time, in that sperm is cheap, pregnancy is expensive. So, and we're not cyclical in quite the same way. Yeah. And this in all animals that have a large and a small sex cell, this is the case. All right. This is why normally it's the men who are doing the peacocking and the performing and, you know, trying their best kind of thing, you know. Yeah. And I'm thinking out loud here, and it's quite delicate territory, particularly in sort of, you know, 2020. But there's a way in which I see that game being played where it's in the women's best interest to deny things are sexual, because that means they can get maximum attention and male resources without, particularly in a monogamous environment, we'll have to sort of choose, you know, at some point. You know, Queen Elizabeth played this off her entire life, you know, with the different suitors. And Elizabeth I, I should say, if the current queen is out there, I don't mean you, darling, okay? So it's a historical fact. And the men, it's in their best interest to say it's not sexual. And I definitely see this in New Age communities. They're like, hey, I just want to connect. I just want to cuddle. I just want to, and then it's like, you want to fucking get your dick wet. You know, you want to fuck. I know you do. Come on, be honest. And if I call people on this, like, oh, you're just projecting your own blah, blah, blah. So it's like, can we at least name that this...
Oh, yeah.
There's a denial of the actual sexuality of certain situations which benefits people. Does that make sense? Like, it's not smart to go into a room and just be like, hey, I want to fuck a whole load of people here and I'm going to be completely upfront about that. That's a terrible strategy. As a man, as a man ever, that was a terrible strategy. For a woman, that's a terrible strategy. Like I've been thrown out of events just for being like overtly sexual with people in a very, you know, respectful boundary.
Again, I want to challenge that.
I think you're attractive and I'd love to have sex with you. It's like, that's harassment. Right?
Again, I want to challenge. Like, I do want to challenge this. Like, I agree with you fully. I agree with you on the difference in gender and desires, or, you know, evolution and all of that. And I also agree with you on the fakeness. And I can tell you from my experience in my personal life and what I've seen happening in my spaces is that when a man is super honest about his desire, when he's like really authentic and really says, you know what, he walks up to me and he says, you know what, I would love to fuck you. And he's authentic in it. He's not hiding it. He's not making it bigger. It's just super authentic. That to me is a turn on. And I've seen so many women, even when it's in a group, and a man says, you know what we always share desires in these play parties. And then someone may say, my wildest desire would be to have sex with 5 women tonight. And everyone feels the honesty in that. Like, you really have to be honest. But when people can feel your honesty, that is so much more attractive than saying like, oh, I just want to cuddle, like massage.
Terrible advice, men. Don't listen to this.
But be honest and
authenticity is attractive. I'll give you that. Authenticity is attractive. This is going to get men listening to this slapped, sued, fired, and it's not going to get ladies.
You know, I'm not saying you cross anyone's boundaries, because you don't get sued if you don't cross. If you're authentic and just explain, this is my desire.
It doesn't matter if you don't cross people's boundaries, particularly in the Netherlands, Germany, and Sweden's place like that. It doesn't matter. Just having those desires as a man and being honest about them is dangerous. You're showing massive female privilege by not realizing this. You're giving out massively dangerous advice to men out there.
I'm just saying this is my experience.
Of course, it's a different experience as a woman. It's totally different.
Yeah.
Are you bisexual?
Slightly.
Okay, a little bit. Okay, so probably less experience with women. Okay.
Oh, I do have a fair bit of experience with women.
But no experience as a man. No, I mean, you don't, right? I don't know what it's like to have a period or to give birth to a child. I'm not going to try and talk about that.
Yeah. No.
I'm pushing back. I think I'm mostly agreeing with what you're saying, and there's beauty in what you're saying, and the idea of touch being essential, and the idea of authenticity being able to authentically express our needs, and there has to be the container for that. And modern society is not the container for men. That's what I'm saying. I
do agree with you. It has to be the right container. So please, don't go scream everywhere. I want to fuck you. Like if you're a construction worker in the street and you would scream.
Imagine I walk down the street. You want to fuck?
I do mean in the right container, and I do mean, not in an offensive way.
To be fair, you did say it before, didn't you? You did say we need these containers for places where people can do this.
Yeah, where we can practice that. Yeah.
Cool. A little tussle, a couple of dominants, tussling. That's good. It's one way to become friends. It's my whip.
Yeah.
We've got time for one more. We've got time for a quickie. One more. Any other subject that we haven't touched upon here?
Well, we're going high speed. There's a lot of subjects we're touching here in very little time.
Always want to slow things down. Always, Tantra girls always want to slow things down. Anything at all. We can come back to one of the topics if you prefer. We can have a round 2 on one of those ones.
Let's see.
Terrible interview. We're used to professionals. You said a lot of interesting stuff. I appreciate it. What's the work you most love doing? Is there like a thing that you most really love teaching? Just like right now, this isn't like the CV, this isn't the elevator pitch of your work, right? Is there just something that's kind of hot for you right now?
It is the mixture of kink with Tantra. And Tantra to me is most about presence. So if you want to say it that way, it's about very present, conscious, kinky dynamics. That is what I'm most passionate about, because there's so much empowerment in that.
That seems to be a leading edge. I think these worlds are colliding because kind of, Melissa and I talked about this, that the kink's coming out of the shadows. And Tantra is considered a bit more normal now. And it's like they can cross-fertilize much more easily. It's not like the kink crowd and the Tantra crowd and they have like secret societies and secret websites and secret club nights. It's much more just like, oh yeah, I tried that at once at a festival, and oh yeah, my friend John is into that, So it seems like those two are cross-fertilizing pretty well right now, particularly in the context, like everybody knows Stephen Porges and Peter Levine, it's like in the context of trauma work that I think could be a pretty juicy kind of coming to fruition, sort of trauma meets Tantra meets kink, because a lot of Tantra has been very abusive and not trauma informed,
Yeah.
right? All the scandals, particularly with dudes. I was looking for a tantra teacher for me and my wife to go to, and someone just said, pick a woman. Just pick a woman. Any guy is going to be a fucking abusive twat, you know? Like,
there are a few good ones, but yeah.
I recommend a few. Who do you recommend? Who's good in the space out there? We'll obviously let you say your website in a bit, but who else is good in the space that you recommend?
In the Tantra world?
Yeah, Kink or Tantra, or that whole, people have maybe listened to this, they're inspired.
Yeah. Like, well, in the UK, there's Shani Love. Shani is amazing. Shani, Shani is amazing. He is very much trauma informed and consent friendly. So I would say definitely check him out. He's one of my favorites. Yeah.
Globally, we have listeners in Scandinavia, America, Australasia.
In the Tantra field, I really like Shashi Saluna. She is very beautiful tantric arts, lineage work. So very old stuff she's teaching, really good stuff. I must say I am very critical because, as you say, there's a lot of trauma, and there's a lot of consent to me is really important. So when a Tantra workshop starts, for me, like face someone, make eye contact, and then give them a hug, I'm out of the room. I don't want that. I want to have my empowered
knife in front of your chest. That's the secret to not getting hugged at hippie workshops. Just walk around with like a little knife, just putting it there. No one hugs you, man. It's a miracle how it works. Or if you can't, a pair of scissors, like that'll do it. Just walk around with a pair of scissors there. No problem. You can still get back hugs, so you still have to be careful, or side hug, but at least the full frontal's out. Oh, okay. Where do people find your stuff? Where do they go on the interweb?
On the interweb, they can go to exploringdeeper.com. That's my website. Or if you want to see that TED Talk, you can just get my first name, get it right, get the I and the E in the right order, and just Google Wilrieke TED Talk. You'll find my TED Talk. And just find my name on all the socials. I'm everywhere. Facebook, Instagram.
What's it like doing a TED Talk? Years ago, I did a video called Better Dead Than TED, and I think that blew my chances of doing a TED Talk. It was basically about all motivational speaking is bullshit, and people can still find that video, I think. But also it looks fun. I would totally do a TED Talk if I was invited. So what is it like? Because most of us have seen TED Talks.
It's a lot of work.
As I understand it, a lot of preparation, right? You have like a coach.
It's completely scripted. I didn't know. There's nothing spontaneous. It's completely scripted. So you have to write your talk. Then a whole bunch of people is having their opinion on it. You have to rewrite it a bunch of times. And then when it's finally okay, then you go practice it. And on average, they say, the TED people, they told me on average people practice their speech about 60 to 70 times, which is a lot of time, many, many times. So I practiced it a lot, and even, they say practice your focus. So I would put on Netflix and the most annoying series I could find, and then look at Netflix and then still do my talk. And it worked. And then I was there, and then you have to walk on stage, and then people have an opinion about how you walk on the stage.
Really, like whether you strut on, whether you do a cartwheel,
what you wear, how you move. So it's amazing.
You have to pick your dress, pick your shoes, and then think about that. And then people judge you, and you see the little counter goes up. How many hits have you got, Wilrieke? How many? Like if I went to YouTube, do you look at the comments?
I don't know. Last time I looked, it was over 60,000. I'm not sure what it is now. So
how do you feel about over 60,000 people having seen? I mean, there'd probably be about 5,000. My
inner exhibitionist loves it. She is.
Your inner exhibitionist loves it.
Oh yeah.
I'll bring it up now. Let's see if it makes you happy. How many numbers there are there on there? How intimacy design can change your life. Wilrieke, so 61,000 views, and it's only 6 months ago. Wow, you're rocking it. Good for you, man. Okay, good. Cool. Final message about the body before we wrap this one up. Before we put this gimp in the sauna.
I would say, allow yourself to enjoy pleasure. There's so much pleasure to be experienced that we can experience in our body, and to just give yourself permission to find your way of experiencing that pleasure, whether it's, you know, within the paradigm or outside of it, whether it's kinky or vanilla or monogamous or non-monogamous, it doesn't matter, but to find your way of enjoying pleasure in your body.
Nice. A pleasure. Thank you. Thank you well.
Thank you for having me.